Welcome to Gentle Stretch Yoga. Today our yoga lesson is yoga modification and adaptations, and you'll learn the difference between the two of those. But sometimes you need a modification or an adaptation to help us with our yoga posing. But if you have some gift cards left over from Christmas, you might want to think about buying some other props that you can use. And a prop is a way of doing an adaptation. Anytime you use a prop, you are adapting the pose by using something external. So that could be something like bar ball, which is a very squishy, soft ball that has a special valve that supports a lot of weight. So for example, if you wanted to do a boat pose like this, but you wanted to protect your back a little bit more, lower back, and just work on your abdomen, you could put the ball behind you and do your boat pose like that. So that is an example of an adaptation. When you sit on your heels, that's another adaptation. Or perhaps using a belt. If you have a belt, a yoga belt or any belt, and you want to or just simply extend toes, you can adapt that pose. If you want to get a little more adventurous, here is a acupuncture bolster. It's got very sharp, prickly little plastic things on it. But if you wanted to use this to do your supported fish, you get the benefit of acupuncture as well as an inversion. Let's see what else I have. Oh, you could get a whole acupuncture mat and lie on it. You can lie on it with bare skin if you're really brave, or with a t-shirt. And finally, if you don't have a bolster and you want to buy one, this is actually a meditation bolster. It's a little more squishy than a bolster that is normally used in yoga class. But that's what I use to prop myself up. So I'm doing a adaptation of an easy pose, sitting on something. Now, modification, yoga modification is when you change your body position to do a pose, to make it a little bit easier to stretch a particular part. So whenever we do a bent knee forward fold, that's a modification of which is the leg straight out. So the difference between modification and adaptation. Modification means your body part. Adaptation means you're using a prop. So now you know the difference, and you can buy some props if you like with your Christmas gift cards. Yourself in an easy seat, legs crossed in front of you, hands on your knees. A couple of breaths, and then we'll get into our body scan. Inhale, raising your shoulders up. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, up. Exhale, back and down. Again. And continuing to breathe with the shoulders down. Keeping your spine erect, firmly seated in the bowl created by your hips. Shoulders are above your hips. Neck is an extension of your spine. Eyes are gazing forward, either soft focus or shut. And continue to breathe. And inhaling and exhaling and inhaling And exhaling. Now we'll get down onto our backs for our body scan. So extend your legs in front of you. Remove any props you might have beneath your hips. And then slowly rotate back one vertebrae at a time onto your back. Your arms at your sides, palms face up or face down. Feet are splayed outward. Legs are relaxed. And your shoulders are away from your ears, relaxed. Shoulder blades slightly walked in towards each other. So the body scan meditation is about 5 minutes. There are a lot of studies that say 5 minutes of meditation, which is really what this is, a form of directed meditation, are very good for your overall health. So let's begin by directing our attention to our toes. And relax the toes. Breathing is normal and natural. Relax the feet, heels, feel them pressing into the mat, feet splayed out. Relax the ankles and the calves. Feel the little cushion of air beneath your kneecaps. Relax the tops of your thighs and the bottoms of your thighs. Feel your tailbone pressing into the mat, supported by the earth beneath it. Very solid. Feel your hips open. Relax the hips. Let the fingers float in space. And relax your wrists. And your forearms. And breathe. Feel that little arc of air beneath your lower back, rising and falling and supporting you as your belly rises and falls. Relax your rib muscles. And your sternum. Feel your shoulder blades supporting you, pressing into the mat. Relax your elbows and your upper arms. Your shoulders are falling outward and down. The back of your neck is supported by a pillow of air. Relax the muscles of the front of your neck. And breathe. Relax your jaw. If your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, let it drop into the void of your mouth. Relax your cheekbones and your eyelids. Relax your forehead. And the top of your head. And breathe. And feel out the back of your head on the mat. Your tailbone on the mat. Shoulder blades. Thighs. Calves. And heels. Everything supported and breathing naturally. Now let the breath come a little deeper, feeling your chest rise on an inhale and stomach fall on an exhale. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. Roll your head side to side. Letting energy in as you deepen your breath. And draw your knees in towards your hips, soles of the feet on the mat. Roll to your favorite side into a fetal position. And when you're ready, press your top palm into the mat to rise yourself to a comfortable seat. And then we'll begin our stretching. If your easy seat has got your one leg in front and you do the same thing every week, maybe reverse it and put the other leg in closer to your hips and just feel the difference, see how that feels. Maybe that lowers one hip more than the other. Hands are on your knees, palms face up. Spine is erect, neck following the spine towards the ceiling. Your spine is resting in the bowl of your hips, shoulders above your hips. Inhale, shoulders up, back and down. Once more. And breathe, inhale. And on an exhale, drop your chin to your chest. Inhale, raise it back up. You can drop your head. Inhale, rise. Once more. This time, drop it to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to left. Center. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, drop to the chest. And then roll the head around in a circle. And raising it and extending it as you go to the rear. Not simply dropping it back onto your shoulders. And time it with your breath. Exhale as you come forward. Inhale as you rise to the rear. And come to center, to a stop. And drop your head to your chin to your chest and roll in the opposite direction. Remembering to breathe. Inhale to the rear. Exhale forward. And relax, come to center. And placing your palms down on your knees. We'll do the same circles, but this time with our torso. So tilt forward, keeping the spine erect and neck is in line with the spine. And do a small 2-inch circle, rocking in and out of your pelvis. Again, exhaling as you come forward, inhaling to the rear. And then you can make the circle a little bit bigger. But keeping your spine erect, we're not doing a fold, not dropping our upper back. Just keeping the spine erect and rolling it around in the bowl of our spine. Exhale forward. Inhale to the rear. And then slowly come to center. And now reverse the direction, starting small. And then making it bigger. And then relaxing and coming back to center. Now extend your fingertips to the edges of the mat. Maybe a little more comfortable if you remove anything you've been sitting on. And then leaning down to the right, extending the left arm over the top of your head. And with each exhale, extend the arm a little bit further. Keeping the left hip on the ground as much as you can. And breathe. Complete left side body stretch. Compression on the right side. Back to center and drop to the left. Right arm overhead. Feeling the stretch in the right side body. Looking forward, keeping your spine and neck in alignment. And then on inhale, come back to center. Extend your legs in front of you. Spine is erect, shoulders above the hips. And maybe as I talk with our knees bent modifying a body part position and just tilting forward. And now come back to center. If you'd like, you can combine a modification, a prop, with the adaptation of using the bent knee. The spine erect, and then folding. Back to center. And you can lower your knees a little bit lower, maybe not all the way onto the ground. Continuing to use the prop or not. And then tilting forward. And then on an inhale, begin to fold forward on the exhale. Breathe. And then release, come back to center. And maybe this time you've got your knees all the way onto the mat and just using the adaptation of a prop. So tilting forward. And then on inhale, come spine erect. Exhale, fold all the way forward. And bringing the hamstrings into the lower back stretch. Release, come back to center. If you are using a belt, you can put it to the side. Bring the into each other, knees to the sides. Again, keeping your spine erect. Maybe doing a little bit of massage with your thumbs into the arches of your feet. Or you feel your hips opening. And then tilting forward on an exhale, and then pushing with your elbows into your knees to open the hips a little bit more. And breathe. And then one more inhale. And exhale, complete the forward fold. Feeling the stretch in your lower back and your little of your upper. Exhale, come back to inhale, come back to center. And again, tilting forward, pressing with your elbows into your knees. Once more, inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. Come back to center. Exhale, come forward. Inhale to extend the spine. And then exhale to do the forward fold. And let's stay here and breathe for a little. Opening the hips and stretching the lower back. Couple more breaths. And then release, exhale, come back to center. On an inhale, extend both legs. And draw one. Bring it with the left arm. And putting your right palm on the floor behind you. This is actually a modification. The standard pose would have you put your elbow on the outside of your knee. Modify it, maybe perhaps like I do. And then raising your spine on an inhale. And exhale, looking to the side or to the rear. Again. Inhale. And exhale. And then on exhale, come back to center. Extend the left right leg, draw the left knee into the chest. Repeat on the other side. Spine is erect. Inhale, rise the spine. Exhale, twist to the side or to the rear. A few more breaths. And then release, come back to center, extend both legs. And then move them into a wide V. And maybe bending the right knee a little bit for that modification, placing the right hand inside the right knee, raising the left arm overhead, twisting and looking towards the ceiling. Keeping your spine and neck in line. Or you can drop the knee to the ground, take the modification out of the pose. And inhale, come back to center. And move to the left side, left hand inside the left knee. Raising the right arm overhead, twisting to the right. Keeping the neck and spine in alignment. And breathe. And maybe dropping the knee to the ground. And on the inhale, come back to center and draw the feet back into the center line, into staff position, Dandasana. We'll do a little footwork this time. Now just point and flex your toes, your whole foot actually. Feeling the arch compress and extend. And then roll your ankles. You can roll them all in the same direction or do them both opposite. Taking a little concentration. And then letting them fall out. Now draw the right knee to your chest again. This time, take the left arm and move it around to your outside of your leg, of your left leg, and twisting to the left. Maybe modifying it by dropping the knee to the ground. Inhale. Exhale, come back to center. Extend the right leg, draw the left knee in. Putting the right palm behind you and looking to the right. Maybe dropping the knee to the ground. Modifications don't just make a pose perhaps easier, but they change the stretch that you're doing. So they're not cheating. They're moving into a different position. Like this pose extends the hip as opposed to this pose. And release, come back to center. Cross your legs in front of you and roll forward into a tabletop position. And keeping your knees hip width, hands below your shoulders, fingers are splayed wide, slightly gripping the mat. Weight is equally distributed between your knees and your hands. Tops of your feet are resting on the mat. And raise yourself into a cat. Exhale to a cow. Inhale, arching your back up, pushing away with your shoulders. Exhale, coming back down, dropping the belly, raising the head. Inhale and exhale. Again. And come to center. This time, curl your toes and we'll repeat. This is just to bring the toes in, to stretch them a little bit more. We're still doing cat and cow. One more inhale to cat, exhale to cow. Come to center line. And sometimes we do planks in class, and other times we can modify that. Here's one modification. If you just want to stay in this position, push your hands into the mats and raise your knees. Remember, your toes are curled, but if you raise your knees off the mat, this is essentially a modified plank. And come back down with your knees, and then release your toes. Now we'll continue to warm up the torso by moving in a slight circle in one direction, just 2 inches to start. And then make it bigger, as big as you like. Exhaling as you come back, inhaling as you come forward. You can even drop it all the way down towards a child's pose to really get your shoulders and your hips and your torsos and your knees stretched out. And then slow the circle down and make it smaller and smaller. And come to center stop and repeat in the opposite direction. Inhaling as you come forward, exhaling as you drop back. As small or as large as you like. And then slowly make the circles smaller and smaller. And come to center. Now walk the left knee in 2 inches towards the center line. And also bring the left hand in 2 inches. And raise the right hand overhead. Looking out to the right. And then threading the needle. Dropping your shoulder down to the mat. Keeping your hips in the air. This is good not only for the shoulder, but for the lower back. And breathe. Inhale, raise yourself back up. Once more, rise the shoulder and hand up to the ceiling. And thread the right hand through, dropping the shoulder to the mat. And release, come back to tabletop. This time walk the right knee and right hand in about 2 inches. Raise the left arm overhead. And exhale through, dropping the shoulder to the mat. Inhale, raise the shoulder up. And back down to the mat. And once more. Raise the left arm overhead and then shoot the left arm through. And then release, come back to center to tabletop. Drop back into child's pose. Come up. Exhale, child's pose. Come up. This time, stay back in the child's pose. And walk your fingertips forward. And then walk them to the left. And breathe, stretching the right side body. Exhale, walk them back to the center line. Inhale, walk them to the right. And exhale to stretch the left side body. And breathe. And then walk them back into the center. Come back up to tabletop. And this time, come back to sit on your heels. Or as I said, you can use a block to adapt the pose. To raise your hips a little higher off your heels. And keeping your shoulders above your hips. Breathe in, raise your shoulders up. Exhale back and down. Again. Once more. Then come forward to tabletop. This time curl your toes underneath and come back to sit on your heels again. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, back and down. More. Then come forward to tabletop. Tap the tops of your feet against the mat to relax the toes. Drop back to child's pose. Inhale, come back up and walk the left knee and left hand in 2 inches and then extend the right leg behind you. Toes are curled. Push back to extend the calf muscle. And release. Again. Release. Once more. Release. And then raise the right leg, cross it over the left. Drop the toes down to the mat. And twist to look over your left shoulder at your right toes. And breathe. And then raise your right leg, drop the toes back to center line. Draw the knee in to join the left. Extend the left leg, toes are curled, leg is straight. Push back to stretch the calf muscle. Release, back again. Release, again back. And then raise your left leg, cross it over the right. Look over your right shoulder at your left toes. Keeping the spine and neck in the same plane. And then release. Raise the left leg and draw the right knee in to join the left. Back to child's pose. And come back to tabletop. Curling your toes under to push up for a down dog. Keeping your shoulders rotated slightly outward, away from your ears. You can bend your one knee and then the next to extend the calf and hamstring. Keeping your hips in the air. All these movements are modifications of the down dog. And release, drop your knees back to the ground. And in the tabletop position, walk your fingertips towards the edges of the mat, working a little on our wrists. And then if you can, walk them so your fingertips point back towards your knees. And breathe. Head is looking, eyes are looking down at the mat. Neck is in alignment with the spine. And breathe. This feels good to stretch the wrists. And then slowly walk the fingertips towards the edges of the mat and back to facing forward. Back to child's pose. Again, tabletop, child's pose, tabletop. A few more cat and cows. Inhale, exhale to cow. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Continue. A few more. Oh, and come to center. Those cat and cows really get your spine flexible. Now cross your ankles behind you. Come back to a seated position and extend your legs in front. And drop back down onto your spine. And roll to the right side, bending the top leg and pulling it with the top arm. Bottom leg is straight along the mat, stretching out the quads. And breathe. A few more breaths. Now extend the top leg and roll to the other side. Bending the other knee, grasping with the top arm, pulling the knee heel in towards your buttocks, dropping the top knee onto the bottom leg is straight, and breathe. A few more breaths. And then release and roll back onto your back, drawing your knees in towards your hips. Soles of the feet are on the mat. Walking your heels to the outer edges of the mat. Hands are at your side, dropping down to a windshield wiper. Inhale back up. Exhale to the other side. Continue. Exhaling and inhaling. And then inhale, come back to center. Walk the soles of the feet in towards hip width apart. And then put the right ankle on the left knee. And reach through to pull your thigh in towards your chest into an inverted pigeon. And breathe. You can flex your right ankle if you feel any pressure in your knee. That will release the pressure there. And relax. Drop the left foot down to the mat. Uncross your legs, drawing the left ankle onto the right knee this time. Reach through to pull into pigeon. Head can be off the mat or on the mat. Again, those are modifications. They're not making it easier, just changing the stretch a little bit. And then drop that right foot to the ground, uncross your knees. Walk them to the edges of the mat for a couple more windows. And then come back to center. And for bridge work, your heels just as you can. Inhale, raise up. Again, inhale and exhale, pushing up as high as you can. This time hold up. And breathe, squeezing your buttocks. And release, and putting your right ankle on your left knee to work on just the left side, raising up. Exhale down, inhale up to bridge. Exhale, a couple more. Last one. And back down and release, change positions. Left ankle on right knee, inhale up. Exhale, drop. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. One more. And uncross your knees. Windshield wiper to release the tension in the hips. Now for our inversion, take your block or bolster, or if you have the bar ball, you might put that below your tailbone and sacrum. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. And if you like, extend your legs up to the ceiling. Feet are flexed. Arms are at your side. On your exhales, draw your core in. And in this position, if you wanted to do an adaptation using a prop, you could take your belt and put it around your soles of your feet to maybe extend the stretch or make it feel a little bit different, or just make it easier to relax. So that's an adaptation. And drop your knees or your legs out to the V position. Inhale back up. Exhale. Inhale. You can do this either legs extended or knees bent. Those are modifications because you're changing body parts. This time hold out into the V position and breathe. And join them, legs back together, dropping your knees back to your chest. Roll side to side. And then extend your legs along the mat into a supported fish. Walk your shoulder blades into one another. Palms are face up to your sides. And breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Now bring your soles of your feet in towards your hips and raise your hips up to remove any prop that you have beneath them. And draw your right ankle onto your left knee. Extend your arms into a T position. And drop your knees to the right. Looking over your left shoulder at your left fingertips. And breathe. Inhale, come back to center and drop the knees to the left, looking over your right shoulder to your right fingertips. Using your left hand to pull your left knee a little bit more to the mat. You may feel this in your right shoulder and your right hip. And inhale, come back to center and cross your legs. This time cross your left ankle onto your right knee, dropping your hips to the left, or knees to the left, looking over your right shoulder. And breathe. Inhale, come back to center, dropping your knees to the right, looking over your left shoulder to your left finger. Uncross your knees. Bring your knees into your chest. And rock side to side, massage the back. Getting ready for Savasana. Maybe extending the legs into a happy baby. Continuing to rock side to side. And drawing your knees into your chest. Extending legs along the mat. Palms are at your sides. Breathing is natural. As we enter Savasana, our corpse pose. Now begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Breathing deeper, bringing more energy into your body. Roll your head from side to side. Draw your soles of your feet in towards your hips, raising your knees into the air. Rolling into a fetal position. And pick the mat to push yourself up into an easy seat. Sitting on the mat or on a bolster. Hands around your knees, shoulders up. Exhale back and down. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Today we learned about adaptations, which are using props to change what your body poses in or to support your limbs. And we also learned modifications, which are changing a body part position. So it's just to let you know you can do any particular pose or modification or support that you need when you're doing yoga. It's all fair game. Extend your fingertips out to the edges of the mat. Inhale, raise your arms overhead, palms together. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. And may you breathe in peace. Hold it in your heart. To all those around you. I invite the greeting, Namaste. And thank you for sharing practice with me today. I'll join you at the front of the room.